first thing we need to do is a roll call. So, Ms. Sarah, would you call the roll?
Nancy Barker. Here. John Gibson. Joshua Gillum.
Here.
Bobby Jinks.
Here.
Tom Kern.
Here.
Jason Roach. And Charlie Thacker. Mr. Mayor, we have 4 members present, just enough for a quorum.
Good. Thank you all for coming. This is the first meeting this fiscal year of the airport committee. So we're going to have to organize the committee. And as usual, the first thing we do is ask for nominations for chairman. Do I hear anything?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I make a nomination, Nancy Barker.
All right. A nomination for Nancy Barker as chairman.
Move nomination cease.
All right. Nomination cease. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Mr. Chairman, your meeting.
Okay, I need a nomination for vice chair.
It don't matter to me, some, one you two want it, you're welcome to have it.
I can't do
It's good
it.
with me.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, Josh Stewart.
All right.
Vice Chair.
And do I have a motion nomination cease?
So,
Yeah, motion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor of Josh Gillum for vice chair, please say yea.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? And then we need a secretary, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I need a nomination for secretary.
Nominate, Bobby Jinks, Madam Chair.
Supposed to nominate somebody who ain't here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always the one that nominates somebody that's not here.
Okay. So Bobby Jinks has been nominated. Do I have any others? If not, do I have a motion the nomination cease?
So moved.
All in favor of Bobby Jinks for secretary?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we have a slate of officers. We've got a set of minutes from March 8th, 2020 forward. So y'all want to, everybody got a copy? And when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to accept those as presented.
So move.
Okay, got a motion from Josh, got a
Second.
second, Tom Kern. All in favor? Aye. All right. Motion carries. And I guess we're going to the, I guess Chuck, it's your,
Wanted to bring up your BIL, bipartisan infrastructure money.
Sorry, Chuck, you want to introduce yourself? Mr.
I'm
Jinks is
sorry.
new on the committee.
I'm Chuck Hoskins, I work for the Department of Transportation, the Aeronautics Division for the state of Tennessee. We take care of all the 77 airports across the great state of Tennessee. We're primarily a granting agency. We broker federal money and state money for your capital improvement project at your airport. Now, that's a busy graph, but what I wanted to explain is the BIL money that you were assigned in 2022.
Hey, Chuck,
Sorry.
just tell them what BIL means, if you don't care.
It's bipartisan infrastructure law.
Okay.
Basically, it's a
Thank you, sir.
earmark for your facility based on the employments, the size of your facility. Hey, Jeff. So you guys, the first year you received $110,000 in 2022. That money's on the clock. So then you got your 23 and 24
You can throw
and
that.
25 in the bank per se. Now, this isn't money that the state of Tennessee holds, unlike your non-primary entitlement that you've visited upon for other improvements at your facility, which is on the second page, but I won't belabor that because you're doing good there. The bill money, however, you've got 4 years of it and the clock's started. So we need to use that first year. And you have asked for a single grant there, your design on your terminal and your hangar door. And that used up some of it. I think that used about 62,000 of it. So we need to find somewhere to put that additional money. And so Mr. Pike with Holt is your consultant, and he's putting together a bid package for the terminal remodel. Now, if we can get that those bids in hand by March, which is pretty tight, I'll have to defer to him on that, we'll be able to secure the rest of that BIL money before it expires, and you no longer have access to it. So that's the crux of today's meeting. That's why I was invited, was to make sure we have an actionable plan to not lose that money. You've got other options. We could go ahead and ask for a second grant for construction administration for the terminal. That would secure some of that money, but I just don't want you to lose that money. That's option number one. Option two is you could pursue something else on your airport capital improvement plan, which is another handout I'll go over here shortly. That would lock that money in. Option number three, which is untested, and we're working with the FAA on, is to swap in your BIL money on your apron project. We had a substantial amount of state dollars that were combined with the federal money, so we could in essence do a shell game and shift in your BIL money into that grant, and then move the state dollars out of it and give you house credit for that for your terminal when we get to that part. But Jeff may tell us that none of those options are necessary. We may have bids by March or April.
Yeah, well, first of all, everyone, I'm Jeff Pike. I'm with Holt Consulting. Apologize for being late. There was a wreck on I-40. I promise you can check the news.
Your story you're sticking to.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Actually, I passed the wreck this morning first thing when I dropped my daughter off to school, and I felt for sure it would be cleared up by the time I went back through there again, but it was not. So, I apologize for being late. To answer your question, Chuck, yeah, I think March is a little tight to try to get the bids in hand. I personally prefer your option one, which is we put together a draft. Chuck and I just privately corresponded. We put together a draft of what we thought the construction services would be, which includes the construction administration and the construction inspection that we and our partner C2RL would provide. And we think that that would pretty much capture the rest of that bill money that's in question here that we're trying to make sure that we don't lose. That's my preferred option, but as Chuck said, there's a couple of different ways to possibly skin this cat. So,
that would take up 47. You've got 47,900 that's in jeopardy, and Jeff's construction administration used most of that.
Yes.
It leaves a couple grand on the table, but still, yeah, that's a couple grand. that
So
you
what
all
were
would
we
lose.
planning on doing on the design, the terminal design? What
You
was-
have after hours access, an ADA ramp, new ceiling, and remodel of your.
Yeah, the main work items are fixing the roof. As Chuck said, providing ADA access as well as public access to essentially the bathroom facility is the main thing. And then the hangar door is in pretty bad shape. We're gonna fix that, replace that. And then there's in the interior of the common area, maybe do some windows so where you get a good view of the airfield from the terminal main area. Those are the four, what I would call the big items. A lot of little stuff, I think, but a lot of that's going to come out of our first design kickoff meeting. We're going to bring our partner C2RL in and really nail down the scope. That's the general scope, and that's what the fee's based on, but none of it's designed, if you understand what I'm saying. So we need to sit down with you all and kind of confirm our ideas for the improvements, get you all to buy off on it, and go from there, if that makes sense.
And I guess my concern there, especially with the roof, if we use this money for the construction, would we have the money to do this stuff at a later date?
Yeah, you've got year 2, 3, and 4 are already appropriated
Okay,
to the Memphis ADO.
all right.
So that's aggregate. You got 145,000. That's just solely federal dollars, and then of course you're a company nickel, and the state's 5% as well. you know, it's an additional 10%, then you need to have also year 25, which is appropriated at 144, and then 137. So you're in good shape construction-wise on that project, we think. Of course, the bids will tailor them to fit your budget, but you know, we have our 5%, and I talked with Sarah, you have your 5%. So we think the terminal project, you know, as a whole, is in good shape. But the bids will bear that. I can't tell you what bid prices will actually turn out. This is a federal procurement, so you know, until there's pen and paper, we can only speculate.
That's exactly right. I think we're working with an approximate budget of about $250 for the terminal improvements. Is that, am I right on that, Chuck?
More like 300.
300-ish. And that, again, that's through the design process. Like you said, we'll be able to work with our partner to really sharpen the pencil and try to get our, we're gonna design to the budget, is what we're trying to do. We're gonna try to, you know, fashion a project that gets you the best bang for your buck and uses up that 300, but try not to go over. As he said though,
Well,
bidding.
I guess, Jeff, my concern is, you know, we know the roof's an issue. The roof's been an issue for quite some time. If the roof continues to be an issue, then the inside ceiling's gonna continue to be an issue.
Yes, ma'am.
So how long can we let it go?
I don't think you can. I think, well, and here's another thing we can do, and we can discuss this during design. We can do a series of additive items. So, like you said, the roof being a priority, that will be the base bid. We're gonna fix that no matter what. But there may be other items within the project that we put as sort of additive bids. And if the budget's there, we'll do it. If it's not, then we'll just have to wait till a later date to do it. It's something like the windows. You know, that's a nice to have, it's not a have to have. But the roof is something I think we all agree is
Well, that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about the hangar door? What are we talking about the,
Price wise?
you know, I mean, is it,
Yeah. I think that's something that Mark's living with and
is it a safety issue?
I don't think so. It just doesn't work well, and it's very old, and it's falling apart a little bit. I think, you know, again, I think priority-wise, we go roof first, possibly that hangar door second, as you mentioned, and then the interior improvements. This is where we'll have to help, you guys have to help us rank it. You know, we talk about the ADA access. Is that something that could wait if it had to? You know, that kind of thing.
So is it grandfathered in right now?
What's that?
Is it grandfathered in?
How do you mean? Like,
Well, we would be penalized for it if someone comes up there and does not have access.
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't field that one because we've not had that situation. We've got several facilities across the state that don't have it. So the goal is even to attain that. I wanted to go over which may help with the budget. The second handout's not as colorful as the bar charts, but it breaks down each year a little bit better. So in the upper left hand, you see the first year that's in red. That's the one we're bantering about that's in jeopardy. Year 2, year 3, and year 4 again are appropriated. So that's a total of $536,000 for the first project that's out of the gate right now at the design. So you used up $62,100 of that. So you know that leaves $473,000. I think we're in a great position to get all of the improvements that you need at your hangar.
Just,
But we need to just press on your young man over there. We've been given a large performance window to just move this forward, so it doesn't appear that we can do all of that. So I encourage you to go ahead and execute a second grant request for construction administration services, and those will be on an as-needed basis with whatever additive, alternate, and base bid are awarded. We just don't want you to lose that money. I think I've said that enough.
What kind of match does this money have, these grants?
Nickel on the dollar.
5%?
Yeah.
and Nancy, we didn't put a public comment item on the agenda.
Sorry about that.
So we may want to go ahead and, this gentleman has a question.
renovation of the terminal renovation, which is great to hear. I'm glad to see that that's going forth. Who besides Mark at the airport do you have bringing up ideas or suggestions or reviewing the plans on what's going to be done?
Well, I think right now we're working with the mayor.
Okay, I want people that actually use the airport, I mean.
Okay. Yeah, Mark is our main.
Okay, Mark has a contract, so he doesn't count. So who in the public do you have that's bringing comment?
I'll leave it up to you guys. We can invite.
We really don't have a direct point of contact. I mean, we've heard things from several of, like the hangar owners that had the hangars that reverted back to the county. They talked to us about some things, but as far as this particular project, nobody. So, I mean, if you want to chime in, go right ahead.
Well, I think you should have, I mean, an opinion. I'm used to the airport. There's a lot of people that fly in digital aviation airports across the country. I'm very familiar with small terminals as well as FBOs. I think you should have some expertise that would provide advice. No one here flies in and out of the airport. So these people don't qualify for someone to offer an intelligent opinion. That's my opinion.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think you were put on the airport committee as a ad hoc member. Yes.
If I am, that's great. I'd be appreciative to provide guidance on it, my suggestions. If I could be as an ad hoc member.
I think that was.
Yeah, you're welcome to come.
That previous, I mean, I don't know if that has to be redone now that we reorganized.
No.
Okay.
That would be my choice as an addition. So we go ahead and add it, and just understand you contribute ideas, but you don't vote.
I'm not with it.
Yeah. That's fine.
I'll make sure Stephanie gets his contact information. Have you been getting notices for the meetings?
None.
Okay.
You'll get me.
We usually send out an email, so make sure Sarah has your email.
I've never spoke to her, so I don't
Okay.
expect to get anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sarah's our buildings and grounds person, is what her role is.
Yeah, and Stephanie sends out those notices, but I'll make sure she gets that information.
I've never asked to be on the notice, so it's no one's fault. I just don't know what I don't know.
Yep, that's fine. We'll put you on the list, and you'll get an email blast whenever we have a meeting.
Okay.
Well, the other thing on the table that we had programmed for you all, second page of this handout, we had two projects later in your airport capital improvement plan. That's your ACIP as we call it. You had two projects, and you requested the one, the fourth line item down, in terminal improvement design. The other thing that you're approved for, we have our state dollars and you have your federal dollars, was the Southwest site preparation for an additional hangar. Now that's in state flood, that's your all's call whether or not you want to exercise that grant and apply for it. You're going to have money left over from the hangar or the terminal project, but not enough to afford the hangar construction in itself. So that's not what that project's about anyway, it's just the design. So that's another option for you to use the rest of your bill, is to go ahead and exercise the hangar design. That's capacity improvement that you need. So that'd be like your fourth option to use the rest of your bill. But I didn't want to muddy the water with initially, wanted to get the hangar improvements behind us first. I encourage you to eventually take on that project because again, it is programmed, and once we go through the reprogramming effort, you know, our money is not as plentiful as it used to be. So when you have something approved and you have the money to do it, I encourage you to take us up on that offer. But again, that's a local decision, and your airport is your airport. That covers all of 25. You know, we'll be doing, and you're welcome to attend the next airport capital improvement project plan holders, where we all sit around and hash out what you'd like to do. We'll have our regional meeting, upcoming invitations should already be sent out. We'll reconvene and we can hash out what you wanted to do in 26, 27 at that time.
Yeah, Chuck, and give them an idea of when that occurs.
I don't have my brain turned on. I think it's Knoxville is, I think May. I can look at my phone right quick though, if we need those hard dates. The blast just went out recently. Sarah, you've been to those. That's where everybody, all the surrounding communities come and listen to the directors, Stately Aviation in Tennessee. We go over our budget and, you know, this should be an interesting one with the changes in the federal programs that are upcoming. So give me a second to dig that out, sorry. Should be April 30th. That'll be held at Knoxville, McGee Tyson venue at 9 to 12 Eastern. Building 510 as it typically has been in the past. We encourage as many representatives as you can to come and hear our information spiel. Does that cover it, Mark? Yeah, sorry. All right, I'll entertain any other questions and then, if there is any.
So your suggestion for us to take care of this money we may lose is what, between you gentlemen?
A new grant request. You can't amend your current design request. We've already been going back and forth with the FAA Airport District's office in Memphis. We can't amend the design grant for future services, which would be the construction administration. You'll have to have representation from your engineer during the construction improvements for the terminal. So we would go ahead and proactively submit a grant request with those projected fees, execute an additional grant for those fees. So when we get bids in hand, and again, with the money I think that we have allocated, we should be able to get the roof, the door, all of that, and simply execute the work order for those construction administration services when we're ready to actually award. You all are actually ready to award the construction grant.
So what's the deadline on the 47.9?
We're supposed to have that in by March.
Oh,
That's the problem. It takes a long time. These bipartisan infrastructure law grants aren't housed by the state of Tennessee, so unlike all the other grants that you all have seen in the past decade out here, this will go to our office and we will batch them with all the other candidates in the state of Tennessee and then ship them to Memphis where they'll process them. It's kind of like before we became a block grant state, as we're an extension of the Federal Aviation Administration, we always used to have to ask Memphis for every single grant that we get. But you know, we've been a block grant for 15 years now. This is a flashback to those days. It takes a little bit longer in this process. You know, it's got to go through us, through them, their batch processing, and then it comes back to the state of Tennessee. These have taken anywhere from 3 to 6 months. Whereas if it was a standalone grant with the state of Tennessee directly, you know, we could get you a grant in no more than 2. We're appreciative of the federal money, but it does complicate timing at times. In this particular flavor of money.
So a quick question, assuming that they may approve the idea of going forward with construction administration services,
Mhm.
when is that, I guess that grant happen?
You could,
It's just ASAP.
yeah, you can do that tomorrow. You know, I've already got his draft work order. He could provide the paperwork. We have several application standards, federal SF24, SF424, 5100, just some federal forms that need to be put into our Black Cat aviation system. Move forward with that.
Which we can help, we can prepare that stuff as well, just if you're curious.
Just curious, I mean, there's an EO that came out today that all the federal grants are paused. Will that have any impact on any of this?
Well, these, that's a hot topic, and we don't have the definitive answer. We don't think that there's a clawback provision, so the first 4 years we think are safe.
Well, I meant for going forward, because right now, he put out a video yesterday, President Trump.
Goes in effect 5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
It is a pause, it's not termination.
What pause?
And based on our discussion with the FAA in Memphis, we continue business as usual until instructed otherwise. Again, the first 4 years of your BIL is already appropriated.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's a new grant.
Yeah, and so this particular.
So that won't have no
Yeah,
impact
this
on
is
anything.
2021. Is this 20?
Yeah, we're working, well, actually 2022
2022
Yeah.
is the,
Gotcha.
is the
is
bill
the
money
year
for
that
this.
we're worried about
Yeah.
losing. So,
Understood.
I think we're safe, but again, you know, you'll have the design grant in 22, and it's not like you have to exercise the bids when you get them. Sarah and I had that conversation, and I'll be taking it with them later, is when you ask for a design grant, you know, if we get outlandish bids on your terminal and construction improvement, you know, we've seen some stuff very high, we've also seen some stuff very low. Again, like I reiterated earlier, we won't know until you actually get the bids, but I think you're in a good position for those improvements.
So now, the improvements that we're discussing for the construction part, that's the hangars, correct?
Yeah, the terminal, well, hangar, lean-to, the roof,
Okay.
the ramp. The fourth option was to go ahead and just start the design on a separate site for some new hangars. I think you guys have expressed an interest in additional T hangars, or, you know, again, that's on your funding, your decision, or you could do a corporate style box hangar.
Well, I guess my biggest concern is we need to get the roof fixed. We've been planning that roof for 10 years, so we need to get the roof fixed.
We're in the process of executing that grant, and Holt's already working on the finance of the design.
So do we have a time frame?
Unfortunately, no. No. It should be within, you know, before you get bids, but these are, that's another thing, I don't want to alarm you here, but these are eligible all the way back to 2021, any expenses that you incurred. So it's not like you're at peril here. It's just a matter of getting the paperwork to catch up with it. Other communities that we've already had the BIL projects, you know, we already had the job constructed before the money showed up. And, you know, again, it's just catch up on paper.
Okay. A lot of information.
It is, and it's convoluted, and I know the headlines are quite daunting, and I expected to have to field that question. There's a lot of unknowns right now, but again, we understand, to our understanding, it's not a clawback of appropriated money. It's new grants, and so your first 4 years, we speculate are safe.
So I guess what you need from us is approval to go from the design to the construction, is my understanding?
Yeah, well, I think what you all are deciding on is that to capture the remainder of the bill money that's in jeopardy, the 2022 bill money.
Yeah, what do you want to do with it?
Do you want to authorize us to help you prepare a grant application that captures it through construction administrative services, which would be us and C2RL inspecting the job? You're handling the submittal process, basically working with the contractor to make sure we're there to enforce the quality of the job. So that's what our professional services, we think, I put together, just at the time it was for Chuck's information. I said, here's what I believe the construction services fee would be, and it does pretty well capture the rest of it. I think we're only $1,000 or so off from the total of that bill. So if we get approval to do that, we will help you prepare that grant application, give you the draft work authorization for consideration to the council, and then he will get it on
Through the project review side.
Yes.
So what's the deadline to get the grant in?
Yeah, that was my question.
That is, it needs to be in Black Cat by 4/16. But that's for, construction, but if you exercise the construction administration, then that's easily doable. We can file that today if we wanted to, and get that in the hopper. And that's option one. We think that's the safe one, and it uses almost all the money on the table. The other safe option is, start the hangar design. Based on the gunpowder available, $536,000, that's not going to buy you a hangar and put a new roof on your terminal. So I think option one would be the construction administration services, but again, it's just my recommendation. It's your decision.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, as much as we would love to do your design for your new hangar, I think when we sat down with the mayor and Sarah earlier, I think the prevailing wisdom was let's just do one step at a time. Let's do this terminal renovation. Let's see how that goes. Let's see what the construction numbers come in at. And then we'll take the next step, which will be that hangar development.
So to make sure I'm clear on the construction administrative services, so if we move forward with that, basically we would be using the remainder of the BIL money to pay your firm.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? So how would you get paid if we didn't do that?
Well, I think it's just a matter of time. Like, if you decide not to do it, then there will still need to be some professional oversight whenever the construction happens.
Okay.
So we would be putting forth a fee for that at some point anyway.
Gotcha.
What we're saying is, in order to capture that money that's about to vaporize, let's go ahead and get it under contract, get it under grant, so that you've captured it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Allocating
Do we-
is the key.
Is that something we need, in your opinion, Sarah, them to oversee these projects?
Yes, sir. We
Okay.
have to,
That's what I figured.
if anything over $50,000 has to have an engineer, and we're under contract with them, so they do all of our work at the airport.
Gotcha.
The mayor and I talked about this with Mark. The renovations at the terminal are needed. The roof is leaking, the windows are foggy, they got that white fog in them, you can barely see out. It's not radiated hot. If someone flies in on the weekend, and it's not handicap accessible for them to get to the bathroom
Yes.
if they're on an airplane.
To be clear, I'm not against any of those things, right? I'm a proponent of the airport, and I support all that, so I want to get it all done. I guess I want to make sure, that we need to use this money to pay your fee, because if we're gonna have to pay it down the road anyway, it makes sense to pay it out of this money that's gonna vaporize, right? And no offense to you, but I don't wanna just hand you an extra $50,000, right? Even if it's free money, because as my friend Danny Allen said, it says it ain't no free money, right? No money's free. And, so, do you want a motion to that effect?
Yes.
Do that? All right, I'll make a motion that we use, y'all have to help me with this, to use the remainder of the BIL grant fund for construction administrative services through Holt Engineering. Is that good enough? Okay.
Is that help you? And I need a second.
Second.
And Tom Kerr, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Is there a 5% on that?
That's my understanding.
That's right.
5% state, 5% local.
And what is your estimation of those two together, that 5%?
To capture the bill money, the 5% is 5,000, or 5,200, whatever. 5% of 110,000, right? So thereabouts. Somewhere between 5 and 6,000.
Tracy, may I ask a question?
Sure.
I've spoken to you several times, and you tell me that we're almost self-sufficient up there. So what plans do we have to be self-sufficient on a day-to-day operation? Are we limited on hangar space? Can we just lease the, instead of us building hangars, can we just lease the space and somebody else set their own hangar there? So those are the questions I'd like to have answers to today. Thank you.
We did have a gentleman interested in building a hangar there.
Pardon?
We did at one time have a gentleman interested in building a hangar there, and the airport committee actually gave him permission to do so, but they would only give a 20-year lease. He wanted 50, so the committee would not
Yeah, I was
allow
thinking
that.
25 maybe.
He was asking for
I think
50.
that's something we should look at, try to make it self-sufficient. I want the shed to operate, I'm not trying to shut it down or anything, but I think we need to be self-sufficient so that we don't have to appropriate a lot of money every year to keep it going. So,
Well, we're in the
let's get-
process of doing that. We're already leasing hangars, so we're getting income from the hangars. We get income from the sale of the gas, so we're working toward that. I think this year, what was the, Sarah, do you remember it was a minimal amount that was come from the county on that.
I understand. I just thought
So we're
maybe-
working toward
maybe
that
we could
goal.
Somehow try to entice someone to come in and lease some land and put up a couple of hangars.
Well, if we build the hangars, then we would lease those out, is that correct? And we would get all the money for that. Right now, they build the hangars and they get them they lease them,
They keep them for 20 years and
and
then
then they have to give them back to us. Of course, the only thing that we do not do is have to build it. So we're not really getting, after, it takes us 25 years to get an income on it. If we build them ourselves, we'll get immediate income. So that's why we were proposing that.
Okay, thank you.
And those plans, Mr. Collins, are right after we get these terminal improvements. That terminal roof really needs to be addressed, and to be able to put a roof on that building and use this grant to do so for $5,000, plus all the other improvements that can come with this, it's a win-win for.
We ain't put a roof on any other building in the county for $5,000.
No, no.
Yeah, nickel on the dollar is pretty good, and I did want to, I guess, echo that about local share. You know, most every grant, every improvement the airport's had in the last decade has been, 5 cents on the dollar. So you're getting a lot of good return on investment per se. A lot of people don't realize that. They see a large project at the airport and they think that's a pricey endeavor for the local communities, but I wish I could get a new driveway for a nickel on the dollar.
Yes,
Yeah, reflecting back on this gentleman's comment, I mean, when we approved the terminal area, that's gonna bring additional revenue, because now you got a nice place for someone to come. If you got people flying in right now, it's pretty dismal. It's not an attractive place to come. We upgrade that, it'll automatically bring in some additional people that would wanna come here and to attend and see Hawkins County. So I'm looking really forward to these improvements, because I know it will have an impact on people that are flying here that would want to come here, and for those that potentially may not come here just because of just not a
The
nice
conditions.
place.
Yeah.
It will improve that. And you had mentioned earlier about after hours access, that would be another huge thing for people that fly in to come to some of our evening events in our county.
I encourage you to fly to Lafayette or Jamestown. That's a couple of airports that have done the terminal lean-to renovations, put in storefront windows, and it's just really
Lafayette and what else?
Jamestown.
In Jamestown.
Mhm. And during the conceptual design stages, some of those improvements, Jeff and them will conceptualize and show their authority, or the committee here. But I mean, it really modernized those.
Is that Lafayette that you sent us some pictures?
Yeah,
That was fantastic.
beautiful, yeah. I like remodeling versus tearing down and making a new. The new terminal was just cost prohibitive, so check out those. Really good.
Excellent.
Livingston is also on the slate to be done.
But it's not done yet, right?
They've done some local stuff, but Lafayette and.
Those will be the first two to look at.
Yeah, I suggest you look at those.
What do we need to do moving forward, and this is for whoever wants to answer, to make sure we don't leave money on the table and we end up under the gun last minute like this again? What steps do we need to take to ensure we don't end up in this same position next January? Because this is annual money. Right?
The
Or no?
bipartisan infrastructure is just a five-year deal.
Okay.
We're worried about, year 5's appropriation. But on the second page, is your annual. Non-primary entitlement, and that's what you get earmarked for your facility each year. We use all of your current balance on the most recent standard safety improvement, your apron reconstruction. You've had non-standard connectors to your runway. Those are forbade for direct access, so we had to do a C shape and reconstruct your apron and put in those improvements. So you've used up all of your non-primary entitlement. You'll get another one, relatively soon, 150,000, and that's again your leverage. You have 150 in the bank per se. So
And we
not
have to
only do you
have
have your
that allocated.
rehab.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, sir.
We have to allocate that by June of '25, is that what this says?
Yeah. So, we use a combination of flavors. You use up all your bill on your terminal improvements, and then you still have some
Just a quick
additional.
question, but the oldest NVE money is what year?
21.
Okay, so it
$72 needs to go by. That should be already expired in this report.
Right.
Yeah, y'all lost $72, I'm sorry.
But the next 150 is 2025.
Yeah.
So you can roll that over for a couple of years if needed. It's not, right, I mean, that non-primary entitlement money also has a time fuse on it, but it's, you can roll up to what, 3 years or?
Yeah, we need to have that on a grant and sent for repayment to the FAA by 26. It's a far calling on the.
To answer your more general question is what we want to do in the summer and in the early fall, we call it CIP season. That's where we sit down with whoever, whether it's the airport committee, interested locals, whoever, and we talk about your plan. And we make a funding plan, tailored to the goals you want to accomplish, but also the big thing you're doing is you're making sure you're tying up the money that may have expiration associated with it. That's one of the functions that we want to help you with, and Chuck will as well. We want to help you make sure you don't end up in these sort of fire drills where you're like, we have money that's about to expire, we got to do something with it. With effective planning, that shouldn't happen going forward.
You didn't actually lose that 72, excuse me, I'm so sorry, sir.
That's okay. I was just gonna add to your question, the reason we were running short on this is because you remember, our contract had expired with our other engineering firm. So they proposed and asked if we would like to proceed with the terminal renovation plans. And we didn't want to obligate them if their contract was gonna expire. So we didn't know where we were gonna be. So that's why we held off on those plans until we decided what engineering firm that we were gonna have. And then we brought them on board. It was, when did this all happen? Late spring?
Yeah,
Early
summer sounds right to me.
So that's kind of why we're behind.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
We're normally,
Yeah.
and Chuck and the engineering firm usually says, no, we gotta make a decision by this day, and we're not looking to have something expire. But since we were changing or having to look at an RFQ for an engineering firm, we chose not to apply when it was open. Does that make sense?
It absolutely does, and I appreciate that. And as it stands right now, terminal renovation is up next. Is that what we're looking to do, right? And that's the roof and hopefully some other improvements. And that is all of BIL money? Or is
Yeah, it's
that
already
another-
requested. No, it's
Okay.
nickel from y'all, a nickel from the state.
Right, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and it's already been, the design was already requested, and it's in the hopper with the FAA to write the grant for that.
Gotcha.
And that's just the design services. And then once that's, fully executed, you can start sending us invoices for that.
Okay.
And just for their benefit, so it'll be a tacked item on the February 20th or something like that?
No, our TAC policy, Tennessee Aeronautics Commission meeting, that's the Governor's Advisory Board, with which if there's a commitment of more than $100,000 in state of Tennessee dollars, you have to come down to Nashville to our office and make a presentation, and that's not the case in this one with the revised policy. That's a recent change to our policy. We're always changing. Keep everybody happy.
Okay, so that won't formally be an item on that tax commission.
So now, do you put all this stuff in that fight cap, or is that up to the employees here at the mayor's office to put that in?
Yeah, what we'll do is we can, Sarah, remind me, do I have your credentials? I think I might.
You don't want to say you have somebody else's
Michelle has the
credentials.
So, what we would do is we would input it and have it, but you all would sort of still do the submit.
Submit it.
We'll sort of prep it and get all the information in there like it's supposed to be. But it needs to come from you guys, the formal submission and request or whatever.
We are trying to, we're working with Panther International on the software purveyors of the Black Hat Aviation product. The consultants don't have, not that anyone would go rogue and submit a project on your behalf and somehow have the mayor's signature, but they don't have that authority in there under their user base. So we're working with them to give them that so they can be full service per se, do it all on your behalf, of course, other than when we get the signature of the mayor. But Michelle handles that.
I just think it's a good idea, simply because, you know, he's on top of it, he's getting paid to do it. It's extracurricular job for somebody else.
Yep. One time a year, maybe every 3-4 years. Yeah, we run across that all across the state, so that's why we have trusted professionals like Jeff and Holden and others who do it on your behalf. And we're
So
the
do you think
gatekeepers
that's
anyway.
gonna pass, that they'll be able to do that, to be able to?
Yeah, I'm pressing for it because again, y'all wear many hats, and I run across this
And
constantly.
then when you change, if you get a change of employee,
Oh, yeah.
then you got a learning curve there.
You'd be surprised how much time I spend on the phone in user support. Additional questions?
Okay. Anybody got anything else?
I have a pass out here that I just wanted to give you for your information. On the back page, it shows the airport reserve balance. This is money that's set aside or earmarked for the airport only. At the year end 2023, 2024, that balance was $69,911. I'm going to pass those. Yeah, just hand them to Tom, let him pass those down. Thank you.
You got one more?
A lot of times when we have those grants flowing through our budget, it looks like we have a $1 million budget at the airport. So what I've tried to do is take those grant constructions out over the past 5 years. And I took the gasoline out. We have $30,000 in our budget every year to purchase gasoline, but we sell that gasoline. So it's really not an expenditure. So what I've tried to do is simplify the expenses at the airport. And the most recent is first. So we don't have our figures for 24, 25 yet. So 2022, 2023 year ending, our revenue was $9,824 at the airport. Our expenditures were $11,426. So if you take your expenditures from your revenue, it was $1,602 it cost that year for the airport. These are day-to-day functions of the airport. It doesn't have the gasoline in, nor does it have any grant matches. I just wanted to show the operation of the airport cost. And if you keep going, you'll see back 2020, 2021, we had $12,232 in day-to-day operation expenses because we purchased a new QT pod. That's where you get your fuel, the self-service fuel station. we had that replaced. If you will see, that's on page 3. We spent $17,250 on that, but on our maintenance grant that we get every year, and it's up to $15,000, we were reimbursed $14,960 for that. But if you take your revenue minus your expenses for that year, it cost us $12,000 to run that airport, but that was with purchasing the new QT pod. The year prior to that, we replumbed the fueling station. That was $17,500, but we were reimbursed $17,036 on our maintenance grant. But recently, with our revenue increasing for our hangar rentals, we're almost operating the airport with no money from the county. I mean, we're just about there. If we had those new hangars out there on site today, we would be generating revenue. But we don't. We've had to go through a lot of obstacles to get there. Chuck has held our hand and led us down the path. We had to correct all of our safety violations, which they're out of the way. Now we're ready to do some fixing up at the airport. That hangar door is the original door that was on the airport unit bill. And it needs some work. The roof needs to be replaced. We get those terminal construction underway, and we're ready to build hangars to produce money. And although the county's not in the business to generate revenue, we're not a business at the airport, but it can take
If
care
it
of
can sustain itself, that's going to help tremendously.
Is there grants we can get to build a couple?
Yes, but, we have to take it
You
step
gotta
by
take step by
step.
step.
We've got to take care of our needs first,
Okay.
and then we, just like at home, take care of your needs,
your roof
fix your
on.
roof, and then you buy your new car next year.
I recommend you break it into site prep first and then see if there's any builders want to come in. And if not, keep saving your non-primary entitlement until you can afford to
Just
build
keep
that.
banking that.
Yeah. In good position with all the improvements that have been wrought recently, so looking forward to seeing the terminal updated as well.
Okay, has anybody got anything else? Any questions for anybody? I can't answer, Chuck will.
Or I'll call somebody who can.
Call a friend, right?
Yeah, I had
Okay.
to use my lifeline today though.
All right, if there's not any, do I have a motion to adjourn?